Welcome to JR Creeps, a place where nightmares aren't just stories, they linger. So lock your doors, turn down the lights, and listen closely. My name is Daniel Carter. I'm not insane. I want to be clear about that before I tell you what happened, because by the end of this, you might think I'm crazy. Hell, I wish I were. That would be easier to live with. But the truth is worse. This is about what happened to me in the fall of 2016, in a house at the edge of a dying Pennsylvania town, Wicker Lane, a place that should have stayed empty. I'd just finalized a messy divorce and was desperate to get away from the city. I didn't care where I went, so long as it was cheap and quiet. That's when I found it. A 3-bedroom Victorian at the end of a wooded cul-de-sac, dirt cheap, $850 a month. The listing was vague, no interior shots, just a photo of the outside, shrouded in trees. Still, something about it. I couldn't stop staring at that photo. When I arrived, the place looked like it hadn't been lived in for years. The white siding was stained with mildew, the shutters hung crooked, and the porch sagged like it was exhaling. But it was quiet. Secluded. That's what I thought I needed. The landlord, Mr. Grayson, was already waiting when I pulled up. Pale, stiff. He barely spoke, just had me sign paperwork on the hood of my car. When I asked how long the place had been empty, he hesitated and said, "Few years, off and on." Then he handed me the keys and got in his truck without another word. The first night, I heard the house breathing. I know how that sounds. Old houses creak and groan, sure. But this was different. The exhale of rotting lungs through cracked wood, it felt intentional, measured, like the house was alive and it knew I was inside it. By the third night, I started hearing noises upstairs, not random thumps, footsteps, pacing, back and forth. Always between 2 and 3 a.m. I started sleeping downstairs on the futon with a knife under my pillow. One night, I decided to record it. I set up my phone on the staircase, pressed record, and left it running while I pretended to sleep. The next morning, I listened. For the first 3 hours, nothing. Then at 2:41 a.m., the footsteps started. Slow, deliberate. Then came the whisper, not near the recorder, right next to it. A woman's voice, soft and gravelly. "Get out." I nearly dropped the phone. It didn't sound angry. It sounded sad, like whoever said it wasn't trying to scare me. She was warning me. I began waking up at 3:15 a.m. every night, like clockwork. My dreams turned dark. Always the same image. A woman, tall, drenched, with a mouth that stretched too wide. No eyes, just 2 black pits that leaked something thick and dark down her cheeks. She stood at the edge of my bed, lips trembling like she was trying to speak, but no words ever came. Until the 6th night. That's when she leaned forward and whispered into my ear. "He put me in the walls." I woke up screaming. That morning, I tore apart the bedroom walls with a crowbar. Insulation, rotted beams. Nothing unusual until I pried open the wall behind the headboard. Inside was a small cavity, and at the bottom, something wrapped in cloth. I pulled it out, hands shaking. It was a bundle of hair, human hair, and beneath it, a jawbone, tiny, feminine, still had 2 yellowed teeth attached. I threw up in the bathroom sink. I confronted Grayson that day. I drove straight to his office. He looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. When I told him what I found, he didn't look surprised, just tired. He rubbed his eyes and muttered, "I knew someone would find it eventually." I demanded answers, and he gave me pieces. A long time ago, the house belonged to a man named Ellis Rowe. He lived there with his wife Margaret. No kids. Margaret went missing in the winter of 1981. Everyone assumed she'd run off. No evidence, no body. Just vanished. But it wasn't her, Grayson said, barely meeting my eyes. He brought other women there too, hitchhikers, runaways. He'd keep them in the attic for days. Then, nothing. They just stopped. He stared at the floor. I was the deputy back then. We never proved anything. But I know what that house is. I should have burned it down. That night, I dreamed of Margaret again. But this time, she wasn't silent. She screamed. It was like hearing someone being murdered in real time. Not just pain, but betrayal. Her scream shook the windows. I woke up to my ears bleeding. Blood. Actual blood. And it wasn't the only thing bleeding. There were handprints on the walls, smudged in red, running down the hallways, along the stairwell, small childlike palms dragging across every surface. And then, at the top of the stairs, written in blood, I see you, Daniel. I should have left. Any sane person would have. But something in the house wanted me to stay. I could feel it in the walls, in the way the floorboards pulsed underfoot. I was losing track of time. Days bled into nights. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I'd find myself standing in corners, staring at nothing, with no idea how long I'd been there. The house was sinking its teeth into me. Then came the knocking. Every night at exactly 3 a.m., a knock on the door. Just one. The first few nights I didn't open it. I sat on the floor with the knife in my lap, heart pounding. But on the 7th night, I opened it. No one was there. But the porch was wet, like someone had been standing there dripping. And in the center of the porch mat, a tooth. Human. Root still attached. I planned to leave the next day. But the house didn't let me. Every road out was blocked, not physically, but mentally. I'd drive 10 minutes, then blink and find myself back at the house. GPS scrambled, phone wouldn't turn on. Like the world outside was looping and the house was always the destination. I tried smashing my way out, broke a window and tried to crawl through. But when I climbed out, I was back in the living room. Just standing there, bleeding from a gash on my thigh. It wouldn't let me go. That final night is when it all came to a head. I was in the attic, digging. I don't even remember why, just that I had to. I tore up floorboards, insulation, until I found a trap door hidden beneath a rotting rug. I pried it open. There was a hollow space between the floor and the ceiling below. Inside it were bones. A lot of them. Skulls, ribs, femurs. At least 5 bodies, maybe more. All crammed into this crawl space like garbage. And in the center of it, clutching a moldy rosary, was Margaret's corpse. But her face, it was still alive. Not moving, but watching me. Her mouth twitched. Her jaw cracked open, and through brittle, blackened teeth, she rasped, "You're next." I ran. I didn't stop. I broke down the front door and sprinted through the woods until I collapsed. Someone found me on the side of the road at dawn, took me to the hospital. I was dehydrated, delusional, covered in scratches I couldn't explain. When the police went to the house, they found nothing. No bones, no messages, no blood. Just an empty house with holes in the walls. They said I had a breakdown, psychotic episode, stress, isolation, trauma. I let them believe it. But I know what I saw. And sometimes, at night, when the world is quiet and I'm lying in bed, I still hear her voice. Margaret. She whispers from somewhere I can't see. You left, but I didn't. You left, but I didn't. You left, and someday she'll find her way out.